Hey y'all, this is my review of LAMH Huntsville, Season 6, Episode 18, titled Melody vs. Marsau, Round 5. And if you enjoy this review, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And let's get into it. So they continue where they left off at the baby reveal, and Tisha walks in. In her confessional, Tiffany says that she was surprised to see Tisha because she did send her an invite, but she didn't get a response. And I'm just like, Tisha trying to keep your ass on your toes, Tiffany. That's why you didn't know if she was gonna come or not. In her confessional, Tisha says that she decided to go to the baby reveal because um, even though Tiffany is known for being messy, um, she does like her, so she, wants to show her support. And I'm like, yeah, Tiffany, she didn't do the most that day of the little lunch. It was Stormy that was acting like a baby, but whatever. Um, and then Tisha walks up to where all the ladies are at, and they're kind of, all awkward and quiet. And she awkwardly hugs Mel, and then she does the same thing with Stormy. But then surprisingly, Stormy actually hugs her back, right? And then in her confessional, Tisha says that she doesn't know why Stormy's so quiet because when they talked on the phone, Stormy said that she was cool. So this is what she means when Stormy acts different when it's just the two of them versus when it's a whole group. Hold on, y'all. Let me just make sure. Okay, make sure y'all can hear me. Okay. So then Tisha asked Kimmy if they all like if the whole thing really just got started. And Kimmy's making a face like, girl, you have no idea. And I'm like, I just think it's funny, especially because Tisha's usually the one that's usually late. But Tisha's she asked the table if she missed any games or anything. Basically, just trying to, have conversation with them because it's just so quiet and awkward, and nobody just answers. Like it's just real weird. I want y'all to see my hair. I feel like the more I'm in the camera, the less y'all can see my hair. I'm gonna chill back here, right? I just don't want to cover up the memes and stuff. But in her confessional, Tisha says that the energy is off and it's weird because they're supposed to be having a happy occasion. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be celebrating and laughing and joking. But she says that's just something isn't right, and she doesn't know um, what she walked into. And I'm just thinking, girl, because they just got finished talking about you. That's why. That's why it's all awkward and shit because they were just talking about you. But then she asked out loud, "Why is everybody so quiet?" And Kimmy is just nodding her head, like, "Yeah, Kimmy, you should have let your sister-in-law know that y'all was just running your mouth about her, so she could have known." But then Melody, and then Tisha looks at Melody saying like she looked like she about to fall asleep, and they just keep laughing and shit. And Stormy just looking around real uncomfortable, like, and I'm just like, okay. But then Tisha asks, basically, like, if has it been this awkward and quiet this whole time? And Neil says no. They were chatting a little bit, and Kimmy says, "Well, look, girl, we was talking about the expo, period." And Tisha says, "Oh shit." And Kimmy says, I know." And Mel is like, "Let's get down to this expo shit." That's what she looking like. And then Kimmy tries to be the mediator and suggests that they do something like an open forum where people give feedback. And Tisha says immediately that she doesn't need any feedback. And Kimmy says, "Well, everybody needs some." I'm trying to be the devil's advocate or whatever. And Tisha jokes and she says she's just over it. Like she don't want to hear no more about nothing. And I get it because the way they were trying to give their feedback to her, it was not like no. It they could have been like, "So Tisha, I had some thoughts. If you're open to hearing some thoughts about how we felt about the expo," but like I said, Marsau set the tone for all of that. The way he came at Stormy about that money set the tone. And even Tisha told him, "Marsau, leave him alone, leave him alone." He started all this shit. Now this is your whole storyline so far on the second half of the season. Like we have to do better. And Tisha, you need to put a muzzle on Marsau because he's doing a lot of this and it's gonna cost y'all a lot of that. Okay. Um, but then Kimmy says that she heard that Nail felt some type of way, And Nell was like, yeah. And Kimmy was like, why? And Nell was like, because they've been around 30 years, yada, yada. And Tisha told them that she would make sure that they got into the expo. And while they were talking about baby Ace and all of that, Tisha is just like, well, I thought we was here to talk about the baby. Like, why are we getting into all of this? And Kimmy says that, oh, wait, no, she tells Kimmy that she shouldn't have asked about any of this. Like, basically, Kimmy and Nail were having a whole conversation, like, yeah, so she said that, we'd be a part of it, but then the whole time in the background, Tisha's just like, I shouldn't have said nothing. I shouldn't have came. Like, no, girl, you shouldn't have. But Tisha says, yeah, she did mention it to Neil at the girl's birthday party, and Kimmy's like, so what, you forgot or something? And Tisha says that she put it out on social media basically so people can be like, okay, let's be a part of it. And Nail says, well, if they won't rehash it, then and Tisha's like, oh, please, no, let's not do that. But Nail goes on anyway, and Tisha says, it's dead. Like, it is what it is. She says that Nail has made her point, and it's been received very clear, and she's over it. And Nail says, well, she says that you saying that you over it is not no shade. She being just not wanting to talk about it or whatever. And Melody tries to finish Nail's point about Tisha kind of like disregarding what she's saying, because Nail's like, well, Tisha, you kind of acting funny with me, not trying to really want to hear what I'm saying. But when Mel is trying to help Nail's like, I got this, and Mel falling out laughing like, like, girl, shut up. Like, Mel, she must be zooted or some shit in these last few episodes. Like, she just be chilling. She look high as shit. I ain't gonna lie to you. But now it's like, Tisha, you have completely different energy from the last time, and it's just like she don't want to talk about that there. Like, not every place y'all all decide to meet up is a good place to talk about this shit. Like, and y'all already made it clear how y'all felt it was a shit show. So why every time y'all see her, y'all want to keep rehashing the fact that y'all felt like it was a shit show? I get y'all feel like, oh, she's not receiving what we're saying and all of this, but if she didn't ask for the criticism, can y'all not give it? Like, it's one of them things. And I get it, they're adults. It's like, well, you should be able to receive it or whatever. But y'all coming at her wrong, and I feel like y'all are. And other people may not agree. Oh well, but that's my opinion. Um, Tisha says that her energy is the same, telling Nail that her energy is the same. And Stormy is looking like, oh my gosh, Tisha, like, what is going on? Why you act like this? And Stormy out of my nerves because, like, girl, you's the most ratchet one at the table. Don't be looking at her like she doing too much. And Kimmy is trying to get Tisha to kind of chill. She's like, well, I brought it up. And Tisha was like, so stop being messy then. And Kimmy like, I'm not. Kind of whining. And in her confessional, Tiffany says that, why are they all talking about the expo at the baby reveal? And she thought that they had just rehashed this. And I'm like, girl, shut up. Because if you ain't had that baby on your teeth, you would have found a way to bring the expo up to embarrass Tisha. So Kimmy just kind of beat you to the shit at this point. So just relax. And then Tisha says that while the expo is over, and if anyone wants to throw one, feel free, and all of that. And Kimmy tells her that that's not the right attitude to have. And Tisha says, well, that's where she is with it right now. And then Kimmy says that I'm on live. Okay. Kimmy says, hold up. My bad, y'all. That was I just had to do so. But anyways, what was I saying? Basically, Tisha was like, she's over the expo. If anybody wants to throw one, you can go ahead and hand it back. And Kimmy's like, oh, that's not the right attitude to have. And Tisha's like, well, that's just where I am with it. And Kimmy says that it's okay to hear feedback. And Tisha says that in so many words, she doesn't want to hear shit from them right now because she doesn't feel like it's coming from a good place. And I agree. Because again, y'all ambushed her with that fucking lunch. Like, it seemed like Stormy and Tiffany knew that they wanted to discuss what happened at the expo with Tisha, but Tisha didn't realize that that was the conversation they was going to have. And I get it. There was no way they was going to text her and be like, hey, Tisha, so let's meet up and talk about the expo. But after she's heard how y'all felt so many times over and over and over again, it's like, and it's the same shit. Why do you think she want to keep hearing the same like raggedy shit and how bad it was? Give her a break, please. But Nell says a few times that the thing she's saying to Tisha is coming from a good place, and Tisha says that she doesn't accept all feedback, but tells Nell that she heard what she said and she apologized, and that she doesn't know what she wants from her. And Nell says that she doesn't want anything for her, but not really in a rude way. And Tisha says okay, and that's why she's over it. And in her confessional, Tisha says that she needs people to be consistent and not be back and forth, like they're good and then they're not good. And Tisha and Nell kind of go back and forth for a bit, but Nell says, but that's the attitude. And I'm like, you literally being somebody's grandmother, like, girl, stop trying to baby them. Like, it is what it is. And I don't know, it's just Nell. And then it makes sense though, because she's around kids all day. She run a daycare. So this is kind of how you talk to kids. Like, you got an attitude right now, so I'm gonna leave you alone. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you ever work with kids, you know what I mean. And then Tiffany comes over saying, "Oh, hey, I'm gonna meet the baby." I'm like, that is a useful interruption for once. For once, Tiffany coming in with the useful interruption. I appreciate it. Um, And then Tisha says that she knows that Tiffany was throwing shade with the RSVP comment. However, they haven't spoken since lunch, so let's just celebrate the baby. And then everybody cools over the baby for a little bit, and then Tiffany asks where Keke is. And Kimmy's like, "You invited her?" And she was like, "Yeah." And Kimmy made a face like, "Hold on." But in her confessional, Tisha says that she's surprised Tiffany invited Keke, given their history, right? But says that Keke is always a no call, no show. But in her confessional, Melody says that she's surprised and concerned that Keke isn't at the reveal, and that the last time she saw her, she was in and out of the hospital. And with all the other ladies being there, she's concerned. But like I said in my last review, I feel like the only reason why Tiffany wanted Keke there was so she can point the finger and be like, "Yeah, y'all, that's the girl who was on Crime Stoppers and shit." Girl. Anyways, Melody says, but yeah, they were just talking about the expo and what could have happened and should have and all of that. And Tiffany says, well, everybody has ideas and that they should do another one. And Tisha was like, that's what she said. And Melody asked pretty much if they hashed everything out. And Kimmy explains how they originally had lunch, and Tiffany brought up how she felt. And then Tiffany says that, but then Stormy had something to say, and then it went all over the place. She always trying to throw the shit under the rug now, even though she kind of was like, yeah, so Tisha, right? And then Stormy was just like, yeah, because my 2 cents. And then Stormy and Tisha started getting into it. But Tiffany, she dropped a little breadcrumbs, definitely. Y'all keep falling for this shit. That's the part I'm not understanding. I'm really not. Um, and then where is it at? And then they keep mentioning it's $100, y'all. I'm so, oh my gosh, I ain't never said this shit so much in my life. And then yeah, so Tiffany was like, yeah, because some $100, how it went all over the place. And basically she's trying to bring up what happened and how tense that situation was. And both Stormy and Tisha are just looking like, girl, like really? Why are you like really? And Tisha's like, we're supposed to be having a good time about the baby. And they'll keep saying, no, I want to know about the $100. What about the $100? Because nobody said anything. And Nell says, well, she knows that Tisha is ignoring her, but she asks Stormy and she's ignoring her too. Like you scolding a child, literally. She look at Tisha, she be like, you want me to tell her? And Tisha was like, she thinks that they talked about it enough. And Nell says, I'm not talking to you, Tisha. I'm talking to Stormy. And Tisha gets in that little high pitched voice, and it's just like, okay. And I told you, because she be dealing with kids all day long, that's why she act like, I'm not talking to you right now. I'm gonna put you on pause and I get to you later. Basically, like, go in a corner, turn around, and I get to you later. And then Tiffany begins to foam at the mouth about who mentioned $100 and who didn't or whatever. And Tisha gets up and walks away. And in her confessional, Tisha says that she didn't come there to talk about the expo again, and maybe they're jealous or mad because she threw it and they didn't. And to her, it's just giving hater vibes. And everybody just looking around at each other about the fact that Tisha just got up and left. And I'm like, can we wait till Tisha getting your ass for starting this shit, girl? Wait till she getting that ass. She gonna be like, Kimmy, you're supposed to be my sister-in-law, better than sisters, all this, like, yeah. Now, this is how Tisha was in season 1. She could be different, I don't know, but I'm just saying, can we tread lightly, girl, because y'all know y'all just getting like this. But then in her confessional, Stormy says that she gets that Tisha doesn't want to rehash the Black Expo incident, and she goes to bring her back to the table. But she also says in her confessional that she thinks Tisha needs to stop running away when she gets any criticism, because it's at a point where they should be able to sit and hash these things out, but at the right place. At the right place. Because if it happened to anybody else on the cast, they'd be like, well, that was the wrong place to ask. Why you keep asking me at the baby reveal? Why you keep asking me at, like, y'all would feel the same way she feels. So, like, just stop. But then as they come back to the table, Tisha's like, we still talking about that? And Nell says, yeah, because y'all lied about the money at the dinner and said that nobody paid. And Tisha just keeps saying, okay, okay, and low high-pitched voice. And Mel continues to stir it up, saying, well, Kimmy said that Maurice paid. And Tisha says, okay, really? Like, that's what you heard in so many words? And then Kimmy just puts her head down, and Nell keeps telling Tisha how they said nobody paid. And Tisha says, really? Is that what we said? And Kimmy says, well, for y'all to say that y'all had no money coming in, she isn't sure if that's a joke or a dig or what. And Tisha says, wait, what you mean, Kimmy? Like, what are you saying? And Kimmy says that Nell said that at the dinner, Marsau said that y'all didn't get no money from the event. Um, Oh, I was just gonna say that, I get that Tisha and Marsau are a unit, but this is what I mean about him needing to shut the fuck up, because when she gets outside, they start to question her about the shit that he said, even though in this particular instance, they're talking about what he said at the dinner. She was there too, and she should have told him to shut the fuck up, because that whole scene was just so cringy. And I know the parts that they cut out that they don't even air be just as cringy, but like, Marsau is doing too much of this, and he's funny sometimes to me. Like, he's very misogynistic. We already know this. Well, all the Scottmen are, but all of this he doing, it's gonna get them caught the fuck up, and I need her to just rein that in, please, for y'all's sake, because everybody already think y'all fraudulent, allegedly. But Tisha says no, she didn't say that. They said that they didn't make any money, off the expo. And then they play back the scene from the dinner, I guess, to clarify what was actually said. But then Tisha tells the group that the only thing she knows is that it came out of their pocket for the expo, but that they didn't make anything off of it. And Mel was like, well, that's not what oh no, she says that that's what Marsau said. I guess it seemed like you trying to clean it up now because it's making sense, but I don't know. And then Stormy, and oh, hold on, wait, before I continue, the way these producers be chopping up the scenes, it really don't make no sense to me. Like, I know it's for dramatic effect, but it don't be making no sense to me. So I need them to like do better. But then Stormy tells Tisha that they're basically being real secretive about the money, and then it makes people think what the fuck is going on. And Tiffany jaw drops, and Tisha says that they know that in business, when they pay for the event, you're not always gonna get money back. And Stormy says, but people have questions and stuff. And Tisha's like, well, why does she have to keep defending herself? And I get it, because she is defending herself for the shit that her husband has started and has did. Stormy made a great point a few episodes ago. I agree that whenever Marsau starts some shit, Tisha has to pay for it. She handles herself pretty well, in my opinion, for like what be going on. But yeah. But then Tisha tells the table that they know, again, when throwing events, it's costly, so it's really none of their business where the money went. And I think Melody was trying to cut in, but then Tisha says that she's just ready to go now. And they're like, oh, no, Tisha, don't go. But she's like, she's tired of this. And she's not going to keep explaining shit else to them. And she says that they're making her head hurt. And Stormy just got her arms in a lock trying to get her to stay in the chair. And Melody says that, Tisha can go if she wants to, not trying to be rude, I don't think. But it was just like, if she want to get up and leave, that's fine. But then Tisha says that they can go and do an expo better, if they want to go right ahead. And the table is just real awkward and quiet. And then her confessional, Kimmy says that the fact of the matter is she's thrown several events and Tisha doesn't have to open up and spill all her books. And she doesn't want her to feel like they're ganging up on her. And Kimmy says that she feels that the people who have donated time and money have questions and that they should be answered. And I get it. I agree. But it's not always about what you're saying, it's how you say it, right? But then Kimmy tells Tisha that she doesn't want her to feel like they all are attacking her. And it only feels that way because it was their event, meaning Tisha and Marsau. And then Tisha says that basically they put hard work into the expo and they don't want to hear a whole bunch of negative things right after the event. And she says that it's nothing wrong with negative criticism and she receives that. She just feels like the way they're bringing it to her is wild. And then Kimmy kind of cuts her off though and suggests the whole town hall forum thing to hear the constructive criticism, and Tisha is nodding in agreement. In her confessional, Tisha says that she doesn't totally hate the idea, but she's not with, the whole getting attacked by those ladies every time she sees them, and says that she'll just have to discuss it with Marsau. Girl, fuck Marsau. Fuck Marsau. Like, girl, he is the one ruining this shit. But then Stormy lets Tisha know that her issue with the $100 situation was never with her, it was with Marsau because she didn't like how he asked her for it. And Stormy says, but she and Tisha were good at the event and she agreed with certain things that she said. But then the next day, she's like, oh, she didn't like how she talked to her husband. And she says, well, what other way would she have talked to a man like that, acting like a woman? And the whole table is, you know, it looked like the whole table's heart sank, but I know my shit did. And I'm like, I know she didn't have to say that shit out loud in her face. But then in her confessional, Nail says that she can't believe Tisha just allowed Stormy to call her husband a woman. It says that if Stormy ever did that to her and Fletcher, she'd be getting a lot of shade from her. Now that was kind of cute in a granny way, but girl, please, you're not using it right. But then Stormy tells Tisha that she feels like Marsau gets a lot of shit started with her and the ladies, and then what happens between them shouldn't have even gotten started because he's the one who did it, and now they all kind of getting on her for something her husband said. But then Melody jumps in and says that she feels like she's where Stormy is because she heard that Marsau basically said some things at the dinner about her to the Fletchers, and she doesn't want the shit talking that Marsau is doing to affect her and Tisha, because now it's like, what the fuck you say, nigga? And Tisha's just like, exactly, keep your mouth shut, because Marsau like to be out here embarrassing you, and he does a good enough job embarrassing himself, so just hush, don't even say nothing. And Tisha says, well, basically she don't want no smoke, and he can handle his own mess, and she starts oh, he gets to handle his own mess that he starts. And Melody says, exactly. And then Stormy says, okay, so now we got to sit and talk to Marsau now. It says that, again, she thinks that he acts like a woman. And like I said, the way the producers cut it up, the first few times Stormy said that she felt like he acted like a woman, Tisha didn't say shit. But then they finally show, after she said it again, that Tisha and Kimmy were like, nah, he doesn't act like a woman. He's just very vocal. And Stormy says that she feels like he want to be lady. And Tisha says, girl, hush. And then they all laugh, the tension away. And Stormy says, yeah, because he acting like a bitch. And Mel is like, he should come over here with the ladies. And Tisha's just looking very uncomfortable. Look, y'all tell me what you would do if a woman called your husband a bitch right to your face. Because I don't know what you can. I don't know. And see, like with Marsau, the kind of husband that he is, I wouldn't have said shit. I would have been like, if that's what you feel, you said it, not me. The kind of husband that he is on TV. Ugh. But y'all tell me how you would feel, how you would respond if a woman literally just sat in your face and was like, yeah, because your husband's a bitch. And I know she's trying to make a point, but you don't just be calling nobody's husband a bitch. But I digress. Now we're with Kimmy and Maurice in their confessional. Maurice says that they're visiting their new site where they're having work done by his brother Micah, and Kimmy says that basically he not moving fast enough, and they need to know what the fuck's going on. You Scott's always trying to start building some shit and can't ever finish, because this show is in its sixth season and this Scott Manor ain't done. Is it ever gonna be done, Marsau? Because y'all moving from house to house, building a house here, but y'all moving over there. But where's Scott Manor? And now we have Micah's lazy ass doing work for his older brother, right? I'm assuming that Maurice is his older brother. Doing work for him, and the shit's still not done. And Kimmy says that it's been a month, over a month since it should have been done. Y'all lazy. Y'all lazy. My bad, y'all. If y'all hear that, that's just my neighbors outside. Yeah. Micah basically is trying to charm Kimmy, basically saying, I got this. This is why I'm the genius of this. And she's like, well, nigga, you need to speed the shit the fuck up. The jokes is all cute, funny and shit, but this should have already been done. But then Kimmy basically mentions the expo. Micah's gone, and she starts talking to Maurice about the expo, and because she was like, oh yeah, we went to the baby reveal, and he was like, oh, so what y'all talk about? She was like, the expo stuff, and he was like, so nothing to do with the baby reveal. Exactly. Y'all always want to have lunch. Why couldn't y'all have another lunch to talk about the expo? Why y'all had to do it at the baby reveal? But then Kimmy mentions how Neil said that Tisha told her that she would make sure she'd be a part of the expo, and then she neglected. And then Maurice makes a face like, really? And then Kimmy says that this money thing is growing legs. And Maurice is like, why? And then Kimmy says because they weren't under the impression that they had to pay. She wasn't under the impression that they had to pay until he told her the other day that they paid the $100. So Maurice was like, yeah, Marsau told him that they had to pay $100 for the vendor spot, and shit, he just gave him $100 cash right there. Boom. Kimmy says, well, check this. The conversation the other Scots, Tisha and Marsau, had with the Fletchers said that Marsau said that nobody paid. And that he and Tisha paid everything. And Maurice chuckles like, stop playing. Now, I don't necessarily know if Kimmy was really getting her facts straight, because again, did Tisha not clarify at the baby reveal that she herself, all she knows is that the money came out of their pocket and that they didn't make any. And I know Kimmy is saying here that Marsau said at the dinner with the Fletchers, because this is what Nail said, that they didn't make no money, that no money came in, right? Or that they didn't get anything. So stop trying to clump them together, right? Marsau said this shit. And I know they're basically saying, oh, well, your brother's a trip or whatever. But, like, again, y'all always penalize Tisha. in my opinion, always penalizing her. And it's like, oh, well, Marsau is just a little jokester. No! Marsau is going to run their business and their name into the ground. Y'all think Keke bad? Marsau is even worse. So Tisha want to be, not Tisha, but Tiffany want to be worried about her brand and associating with anybody. She needs to be worried about Marsau Scott. Right. But Maurice is like, okay, well, then we need to talk to Marsau now. And in their confessional, Maurice says that he doesn't want to be somebody who hounds Tisha and Marsau in public without all the facts. It says that secondhand information always gets messed up with this group. And then Kimmy says that she doesn't want to be there. She doesn't want there to be any misinformation, but clearly somebody is misinformed. She says either she is or Nell and Chris are. I feel like they were clear on the fact that they put a lot of their money into that, right? But I feel like Nell and them are just hung up on the fact that they just weren't invited. They've been in this shit 30 years. They just hung up on the fact that they weren't invited, in my opinion. I could be wrong. But Kimmy tells Maurice that Marsau will pop off on any girl, guy, or woman or anything. And Maurice was like, yeah, that's true. And then Kimmy jots down how Maurice got into it with Stormy and then Tiffany and says that he just doesn't seem to have a line he won't cross when it comes to ladies. And my thing is, okay, Kimmy, do you feel this way, or are you just relaying what the other lady said? Because you've never seemed to said this before. And see, I like Kimmy. Me and her used to be like this, right? Because I felt like, oh, she was always so neutral, but you never said this before. So is this you feeling like he is Buckwild talking about Marsau with women, or is it just you're relaying back what these ladies are saying? Because like I said, I feel like the way production chops up this show, it don't flow sometimes. It don't. But I get it, dramatic effects, whatever. And then Maurice says that Marsau is a sarcastic asshole, and Kimmy mentions how Marsau says that he didn't respect Melody, and that she's selling T-shirts. And then Maurice bends over laughing, and Kimmy is like, "See, don't laugh because this is what encourages him and the behavior." And then Kimmy tells Maurice how she mentioned her idea for the open forum and to give feedback because obviously it's some shit going on, or some things that just could have been better, and Maurice agrees. All right, whatever. Now we're with Melody, and she's meeting up with Nell at the daycare. And when I see the daycare, oh my gosh, it was like, it reminded me of my childhood, y'all, being a kid, like the yellow wallpaper and the little zigzag, like little design things, and you have the days of the week. Saturday to Sunday, and then the calendar. Oh, being a kid used to be the best. So I'm gonna let Auntie Nell slide a little bit because the daycare center look popping, all right? But you can't be talking to these grown folks like they kids, man. Like, no. We know you older than them, but you don't have to act like a nana, please. Like, these are grown people with kids. In her confessional, Melody says that it was a lot going on at the baby reveal, but she and Nell need time to talk about the mess. And then they small talk about how the event was, and Melody was like, "Oh, the food was good, and this, that, and third." And Nell was like, "Well, hopefully everybody had a good time, even though, you know." And then Melody says, "Well, yeah, because Miss Nell, you was on one." And she says, "Yeah, when she needs to be, and when she feels like she's rubbed the wrong way." And Melody says, yeah, she sees that Tisha has rubbed her the wrong way. And then Nell says, yeah, because it's hard to believe that Tisha didn't know that she owned the daycare. And then Melody says, so like, did she and Chris... Oh, no, Melody was like, so yeah, you told me that Chris called Marsau the day before the expo, but he didn't mention anything about them being a part of it or being there. And Nell says no, and she just told Chris, don't worry about it, because regardless, they do support the Scotts. And then Melody says, yeah, I know you have patronized their businesses at times. And Nell says, yeah. And she's like, Chris goes to Black all the time, but they don't even know that. And Melody's looking like, Like, oh, really? You know how dramatic she is when she ready to start some shit. But I'm not gonna lie to you, Melody hasn't gotten on my nerves just yet. Since the season has come back, like since the break, she hasn't gotten on my nerves just like as much. So let's hope we stay here, because you millimeters, whew, you millimeters are trying to eat me up in the first half of the season, okay? But I'm still strong. Alright, I'm still here. Um but then Melly's like, oh really? And then Nell says that Tisha says that she doesn't know what's going on, but she owns 85% of the business. And Nell is like, if she owned 85% of her business, she know what the fuck's going on. And then they show a clip from the dinner with the Scotts versus the Fletchers, and Tisha asks how they split the business, and they're like, oh, 50-50. And then they'll ask Tisha the same thing. And Tisha's like, oh, I own 85%. And Nell says, you own all of that in the business that you getting kicked out of. And then they show Tisha just shrugging and stuff. And I'm like, production really loves to make Tisha look like a pushover and a clown for real. But I want to see her, like, I want to see her scrapping for real, because I know she got it. And it's going to take the right person to get it out of her. And I think it's going to be Keke. I think it's gonna be Keke. I do. But anyways, Melody explains to Nail how there's this thing in the government where they give women extra opportunities when it comes to getting businesses and stuff. So what some men do is, to get those grants, they put their businesses under their wives' name, like give them majority of the state, to make it seem like it's a woman-owned business, so they can get more contracting opportunities. And basically says that what is the part that Marsau owns? Because mind you, it's not just Tisha and Marsau anymore. It's Tisha, Marsau, and the other friend, Gino. I think that was his name. So they're like, so what part does Marsau own? Joking and shit, 7.5. That, like, oh my gosh, just too much. But yeah, Tisha don't be knowing what's going on. I'm sorry, I ain't even going to, like, I gotta give them that one. Tisha don't know what's going on at all. But Melody basically says that Tisha really just doesn't know what's going on about her business, and that when she and Martell were working together, she knew what the fuck was going on, basically. Um, and then Nail asked Melody, does she think that they should explain some things about the expo? And Melody says that she really thinks that the Scotts didn't make any money off the expo, and that they're trying to be secretive about it. But then Nell says the opposite, and says that she feels like they did make money, but they just trying to be hush hush. And then Melody spills all the tea about how the Scotts are trying to raise some money to help build a family a house for $150,000, and that they only got like $200 to $300 in the month. And she checks her phone, but says that she can't check the fundraising, like the data, because she got them blocked and they got her blocked. And I'm just like, so how you know all that? What Finsta account, what burner account you got that's been checking their fundraising info? Because I know you got one, Miss Balance, Miss Knowles, okay, Miss Quarter. I know you got one. So how you know this? And Nell was looking at her exactly the same way, like, how you know that, Mel? If they blocked, since you want everybody to know that you got people blocked, right? That's all you care about. How you know? But then Nell says, how are she and Tisha trying to build a relationship or build back up when you got her blocked? And Melody says, well, Tisha got me blocked too. And, she got so many other people blocked. She's not just going to go back and, and look for her to unblock her. And like, yeah, because it's just so much work to just go in and to type in her name, Letitia Scott, and unblock her off Instagram. It's so hard. And Nell says that they not trying to really be friends. They trying to be frenemies. And Mel grins real hard. Like, girl, how you know? She was grinning real hard. Like, girl, how you know we trying to be frenemies? Because it's clear as day, honey. And you gonna work even harder to befriend your frenemy because her husband is coming at your neck. And you trying to be like, oh, look, Marsau, now I got your wife. You know, you know. But then Melody asks Nail if Tisha is somebody she would want to be friends with. And Nail asks Tisha, um, Nail says that Tisha hasn't really been real receptive, so she's good off that and it can be cordial. And in her confessional, Nail says that she's not sure where she and Tisha stand. It says that they can just take their time and it's okay that it's not right now. My bad, John. I'm responding to the text. Okay. And then Melody says that, well, her issue isn't with Tisha, it's with her husband. And that he don't need to be worried about what the fuck she got going on. And Nail says that she thinks that Marsau has something with women because he said that he thought that she was just Chris's pretty wife and that she didn't really do nothing. And says that it seems like he's trying to push Tisha into that box whenever she and Melody are trying to get cool again. And Melody makes faces and she's like, yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like he don't want her to boss up and grow up and leave his dusty ass, his dusty manipulative lying ass. Basically, that's what she's saying. And it could be true, it could be not true, but whatever. But in her confessional, Melody says that the thing with Marsau is that he's hoping to cause beef between she and Tisha, and that hoping that she takes and hoping that that Melody takes her issues that she has with Marsau out on Tisha. And she says that she's not going to allow him to do that because, he's gaslighting and basically, that ain't going to fly. But their scene is over. And now with Keke and her husband are catching up. And I'm not going to lie to you, I ain't even going to read down my notes too crazy because I don't know what they're trying to do here. Like, I don't know if y'all noticed, but in this season, they're adding a lot of couples. A lot of couples. Y'all added 2 extras. Keke and Amin and Nail and Chris, right? But y'all still ain't got rid of Tiffany and Big Lou. What's up with that? What's up with like y'all can't even see my eyes for real, but what is up with that? Because honestly, they're bringing more tea and mess than Tiffany and Big Lou are because I ain't seen his ass all season. But this whole Keke and her husband thing, the whole scene was very, very scripted and staged. Girl, obviously people are gonna already assume that you relapsed. You can say that you didn't. Even your husband said, yeah, because I can tell at this point when you off your rocker and when you're not, but I don't believe it. Love you, Keke, girl. Really, really do. For lifers and all of that. I don't believe it. And your husband is just like, look, we've had this cycle at this point. It's only human of me to assume the worst sometimes. And she's just like, that's just not fair. And it's just too much going on. And he's like, yeah, it's a lot for both of us. That's basically what their whole scene is about. Hopefully we get a little bit more tea later on. But I'm sorry, Keke and Amin, that scene was dry as hell. I'm so sorry. I cannot. But let's get on to what this episode was really about. Now we're with Melody and Marsau. Ding, ding, ding. Round 5. And in her confessional, she says that she's meeting with Marsau and she's made the conscious decision to come in with positive energy and says that how he responds definitely determines how this conversation is going to go. And then they play back clips of Melody and Marsau going back and forth a bunch of times. And I was trying to count it because they're saying that this is round 5, but more like round 10. But then Marsau arrives, and in his confessional, he says that Melody reached out to him wanting to talk, and he says that he's sure it's about what he and the Fletchers discussed, and that Nail went back and told Melody, but hopefully Melody can see his point of view without embellishment. And then they small talk saying that things are moving forward and in the right direction with business or whatever. And he really enjoys that. And Melody says same. And I noticed she had her Millimeter shirt on. She was ready for his ass. Shout out to the Millimeters. Even though y'all like to hate on people who don't like Mel. Shout out to y'all. But then Marsau says that he likes the energy or whatever, and she's like, "Look, nigga, here's the deal. I heard you was running your mouth about what I got going over here, and I want to know why." And she's like, because I wasn't gonna come in here with good energy, because you know how extra he like to be. Like, Mel, I like this thing. She's like, well, look, I was thinking about back to that failed ass tea party that we had, and I was just thinking, WWCD, what would Carol do? That's what she said, because that's what the lady's Carol's name was. Who did the tea party? That was a mess. And she says that right now, Marsau, she's trying her hardest to be very chill. But then Marsau's like, okay, cool, that's what's up. Not gaslighting too much, but kind of inching. And then Melody says, so yeah, basically Neil told me what you said, and you taking jabs, and I want to know what's up. And then Marsau says that they embellished it a little bit because he didn't call her by name, and that what he said was a part of a larger conversation. And then Marsau straight up said that why is he paying you for a t-shirt business? And then Melody looks like, oh, really? And then and then she tells him that they both know her business goes like far beyond t-shirts. So what's with all the jabs? And then Marsau says that it wasn't an attempt to throw a jab at her. It was just his opinion. And unfortunately, it went to her. And then Marsau says that he doesn't respect it, basically. And then Melody says that she doesn't understand because he's been trying to get into the e-commerce business, and he says that he doesn't have a high opinion of it. And Melody is looking like, well, what the fuck you mean? And Marsau says that he doesn't have a high opinion of the business that he's in. And Melody's falling over all dramatic, like, and this is what I mean, Tisha. This is exactly what I mean. When he run his mouth too much and he's saying any fucking thing, and people just be like, this asshole really just said that shit. Yeah, literally. But then Melody says that if he feels like that, why is he in the business? And he says to make money. Straight like that. Somebody like that who don't have no passion for it, you can't trust them. You can't trust them, because if it's all about money, they're gonna do anything. They won't say anything to make that fucking money. So he just cannot be trusted, period. Tisha, run! Run! Do you hear? Tisha, I'm talking to you, girl. You better run. I always wanted to do that. I'm sorry, I love it. The green screen. You know what I'm saying? The green screen. But anyways, and basically she's just telling Marsau like he's trying her and he needs to stop. And he's like, he's not. And they both just sipping their drink. And then in her confessional, Melody says that his attempt to limit her e-commerce business and his ignorance, it's just crazy. And he knows how she moves and what she does, and when it comes to business, and says that, it's just lies, lies, and more lies. And then Melody tells Marsau that for him to intentionally, and before she could even finish, he was like, I didn't, Mel, I didn't. And she was like, yeah, you did. To intentionally downplay what she's trying to do and what she's capable of is crazy. And she was literally just picking her lash, bruh, picking her lash. And he's like, oh, Mel, don't cry, Mel. I ain't mean to make you cry. I was like, oh, Marsau, he go for the jugular, for real, for real. He goes for the jugular, okay? And so many emotions ran across her face, like, nigga, I'm not crying. And she was like, Marsau, ain't nobody crying over you. And Tisha won't be crying over him when she leaves his ass. And he asked Melody, now why would she want Tisha to leave him? And Melody says that she just got a feeling. And Marsau was like, so you want my kids to grow up in a single parent home? And Melody tells him that he's just doing too much, and that he's afraid that if she and Tisha get cool and basically adopt her strong womanness and get the strength to leave his manipulative lying ass, and then what's he gonna do? And then they do, to be continued. So It's Thursday, y'all, and that's the end of review. My bad. It's Thursday. The new episode comes out on Saturday. I'm gonna try to review it and have the next live out either Sunday, Monday. Don't hold me to it. They come out whenever they come out. But yes, y'all, that is a review for this episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Tisha, run, girl. That nigga's gonna get y'all caught up, and y'all gonna be broke. But yes, y'all. If you enjoyed this review, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all in the next one.